Pima County, Arizona's Sheriff Mark Napier spoke to ABC's Nightline, offering his unique vantage point on the borders and what he thinks needs to be done. Watch this.
Public safety is not a partisan issue. It's not a political issue. It's a quality of life. It's a human condition issue. These people still have 40 miles of desert to traverse before they get to something that would resemble civilization or where they could be picked up by somebody else. My deputies do recover almost 100 bodies a year in the deserts of this county.
Okay, 100 bodies a year. That's what the sheriff just said. Men, women, and children dying while trying to cross the border. Already this year, 92 have died. Let's bring in Mike Howell. He is a senior advisor at the Heritage Foundation, former member of the Homeland Security Council's office. Okay, if dead bodies and the overwhelming lack of control at the borders is not an emergency, then what is?
That's a great question. It clearly is an absolute crisis at the border. Democrats were saying that it is not for some time, and now everyone agrees this is crisis time. The Trump administration is doing everything they can to get their hands around this issue. Slated to have 450 miles of border wall by the end of 2020. It's about a mile a day. So while Congress does nothing, every single day, border wall will be going up. Loopholes are being closed,
okay.
Enforcement's being done.
Okay, chaos in Congress. This is what happens when you don't deal with the border. Republicans in South Carolina, meaning Tim Scott and Joe Wilson, now saying they will try to get back for their state the $11 million in Pentagon funds that are now going to fund the border wall. But, you know, sir, what's happening, too, is South Carolina saw a big spike higher in South Carolina's drug overdose death rates. Drug cartels are using the Carolinas. They're setting up shop in Atlanta, Georgia, and they're moving their drug products through the Carolinas up the eastern seaboard. This is why it is a national security issue, right, Mark?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's the drugs, the crime, the absolute awful trafficking networks that are occurring, the human smuggling, the abuse that occurs to women and children. It is an emergency in more ways than one.
I'm sorry, it's Mike, not Mark. Okay, so here's the other thing. Breaking news, Mike. The Trump administration announcing it will end widespread catch and release. They are not going to release families into the interior. Instead, if a family unit does not claim fear of return, they're going to be returned to their country of origin in collaboration with Central America. If they do claim fear, they will generally be returned to Mexico. Your reaction to this breaking news?
Another huge development in the immigration field. Followed under promises made, promises kept. This is going to have a huge impact because many family units are simply going to decide not to come. What we do know about the cases that have already processed through those who remained in Mexico is out of some 5,000 in a recent tranche, only 2 were held up. So people are going to realize that they don't have the chance now to just be released into the interior to hopefully, you know, have a court date many years later that they don't even have to show up to, and no legitimate fear of actually being removed from the country. So once the countries in the Northern Triangle see these family units returning, telling each other folks that it was not worth it, it will have a massive impact.
Mike Howell of the Heritage Foundation, thank you so much. Next up.